In recent days, we've seen people say that Coon Cheese needs to change its name, and now it appears cereal and beer are next on the list. A disgraced former MP in Britain has written to Kellogg's to ask why there's a monkey used for Cocoa Pops and why there's three white boys for Rice Bubbles. She believes it's racist and should change. Kellogg's responded and said it stands in support for the black community and said it was important that discussions are raised to improve racial equality. Meanwhile, back home, and Margaret River's Colonial Beer will no longer be stocked in certain bottle shops in the eastern states. The brewery says they understand and are listening and reviewing the product. This is based on some feedback about the name of it. Robbo, are we cancelling everything?
Look, with the Kellogg's thing, I think it's an MP that was she was disgraced. She lied about a speeding ticket. You know, she's no longer in Parliament, and all of a sudden she's got world headlines. So I don't think that a politician, she certainly knows what she's doing. Cocoa Pops. One comment that I read was that the cacao plant, which chocolate is made is found in the Amazon basin where there are monkeys there. Mm-hmm. I think it's a bloody long bow. To go from, using a monkey, saying Cocoa Pops, and then trying to make that racist. This annoys me as much as it does with the Coon, but more so. So Coon Cheese, obviously, there is, that racial undertone that we understand with that word. That's fine. Having a monkey that's been there for the 80s, it's about being fun. That's what Kellogg's has said. I'm really impressed with Kellogg's that they haven't gone, we'll review it.
Yes,
no. They stand with black people. They stand with Black Lives Matter. They're always, interested in the conversation, but they've got a lot of it. They've got a giraffe. They've got whales. They've got, dolphin. They've got all of these things that are branded. It's just stupid. The Colonial Beer, again, this is where we go back into kind of murky territory with the Coon Cheese. I'm not Indigenous. I'm not a black person. I understand that there might be, some pretty heavy stuff hanging over your head. I like that the brewery is saying, look, we're looking at it. We understand.
Although it was interesting on the Today Show this morning, Robbo, the guy who runs it said, we are listening to the minority. It was a really interesting turn of phrase. Is that where we are now, where the minority of people are bringing about significant change because they've got the loudest voices?
Well, and they deserve the loudest voices, if we can talk about it. They have been oppressed for centuries. So I think to say that the minority...
No. I'm not talking about Indigenous Australians. I'm talking about this Twitterati who decide to get on an issue and say, this is out. This is, like a monkey on Cocoa Pops.
That's two different things there. So the one thing is that I think it's good that we talk about it, and that they do have a voice now because they've been oppressed forever, and I think that's really important. And we, I'm going to suggest to you that white people have ignored them for too long. Then to your other issue with the Twitter, yes, I do agree with that. I think there's a big problem where people who are getting up in arms on Twitter and fighting the cause have nothing to do with it. There has been many cases where, for instance, with gay rights in this country, all of these people are up in arms. None of them are gay. That they rest on the fact that they are allies. And I just think that you're getting angry about something that, as a gay man, I'm not offended by. So we're seeing this all the time where these social warriors who go after things, but they're not part of the community that they think is offended by.
But what I would say is, Robbo, you were just saying then, look, it's been around since the 80s, or it's been around for this long, so it's not an issue. I think was just as disturbed as everybody else when I saw Kellogg's on the front page of the paper, front page of the news, with people discussing that this could also be cancelled. I think that Kellogg's could do something smart, and they could introduce a new, mascot to go along with maybe just acknowledging what's happened. But it seemed a bit ridiculous to me when I saw that Kellogg's was under fire, and I think people should be smarter than that and realise that it's not a racial issue. But, if I was the brand manager of Kellogg's, I'd be like, I don't think there's any harm in changing the face of, Rice Bubbles and introducing a person of colour on the box. We're in a difficult time, we're in a strange place in our life, and, we are acknowledging minorities. And whilst this particular situation isn't wrong, I think just acknowledging it by maybe introducing, the monkey with a new friend.
I get what you're saying, but there's also there's Cocoa Pops white chocolate, and the monkey remains the face of that too. So absolutely,
it's got nothing to do with it. Yeah, that's right.
If they got a white monkey to go on the white box, that would be bad.
Yeah. I 100%. Look, I know, and you know, and we all know, and everyone that read that story knows it's not a racial thing. We know that. But I think what we're doing at the moment is we're just reassessing everything, and we're making up an individual decision across the board.
Yeah.
So, you know, for Kellogg's who don't want to look like they're tone deaf, you know, and they do want to say that they're respecting the consumer, maybe it is a right tip of the hat. I mean, I'm certainly not a brand manager, and I never will be, but I think, you know, it's worth exploring these things even when we go, come on, you know, this is too much.
That means you become
Can I
victim.
say
You become held accountable and hostage by everyone who wants to throw a stone at you. Sometimes you have to
No,
stand
you're
up-
turning it into something. But Rob, can I just quickly say, yeah, go, Robbo, go.
Sorry, I was just really quickly going to say, Ben, I 100% agree with you. So if what's happening is, you know, think of all the brands and all the names in the world, and because of what's happening, because this conversation is finally happening, we're taking a large magnifying glass, but we're looking over things and going, well, you know what, the monkey on the Cocoa Pops, it's not, you know, there's no connection to racism. It's just a character. It goes with it. Monkeys, you know, eat cacao, whatever, you know, cocoa and all that kind of crap. So that's okay. But what's good, though, and I agree with you, is that we're just having a look at things now that we should have been sensitive enough or understanding enough to have looked at in the past. So Cocoa Pops, yeah, as you say, look, I agree with you. There's nothing wrong with it. So move that aside. But then, you know, maybe there is a product that's got a really bad name or a really bad history that needs to change that. That's good. So we're just passing everything over a magnifying glass and checking it out. I agree with you wholeheartedly, Ben.
It's a Ben, Rob and Robbo, Ben, Rob and Robbo, Ben, Rob and Robbo Show.